Yeah, and look, and the Bucks have been on the other end of this, right? They know that a team that goes down 0-2 can come back and win because it happened to them with Toronto. We, of course, just saw it with the Clippers in the Dallas series. So it's possible, but it's really, really hard. Again, once you're down 0-2, you have to win 4 of the last 5. That is a very high standard. And you guys talked about it. It was a season low 83 points for the Nets yesterday. You could see the impact of missing James Harden, who continues to deal with hamstring tightness. I don't expect to see him for the rest of this series, and that is not based on inside knowledge of the Nets, based on inside knowledge of how hamstrings work. Tim, do you think that that's an affordable thing for the Nets, that if they can't have James back for the rest of this series, they will still be okay?
Well, the fact that they won those 2 games in Brooklyn obviously put themselves in position to be able to probably get through this series without him. I do think it'd be problematic if they see Philly the next round, or whoever comes out of the Western Conference. Obviously, they felt like they needed James Harden to get them over the hump in terms of being a championship team based on what they gave up to get him. I do think they can manage this series, though, without him.
I agree with Tim. I think this series is okay. And honestly, Rachel and Tim, I'm kind of wondering if a return of Jeff Green could make a difference in this particular series. He's someone that remains most versatile defensively and offensively in terms of what he can do for this Nets squad, not to mention his leadership and some of the intangible things that are vital to this team's success.
That sounds like exactly what I would expect a Georgetown Hoops person to say, Monica. I'm just going to say it. Possibly both. There can things where you could be both biased and correct. And I think that you are both of those things in this case. I do want to ask from your personal experience, though. We see Giannis at the free throw line. We've seen the violations past the 10 seconds. Of course. And this goes back, you talk to Shaq, you talk to any of the guys who have historically struggled with free throws. They work on it in practice all the time. It's not like they're not putting the work in. What do you think, as someone who has stood at that free throw line under pressure, what do you think is happening here?
Well, we're not going to see any changes in his routine at this point. Any free throw or shooting coach will tell you, stick to the routine, and the changes come in the offseason. So besides being a little bit mindful of that internal clock, he's just going to have to continue to shoot the basketball with confidence and just trust in his routine. I mean, I don't know that it's a case of the yips as much as it is he's just not a good free throw shooter. And that doesn't change overnight, but he has to continue to go to the line and shoot the ball with confidence. It can't be a self-fulfilling prophecy on the negative side. He's got to continue to believe in himself and trust his reps. I would personally like to see him just give me a little bit more knee bend and fluidity, but again, I know those changes don't come during season.
And the worst thing that can happen for Giannis is it gets in his head before he even gets to the free throw line. And what I mean by that is if he starts being hesitant attacking because he doesn't necessarily want to go to the line, which I think we've seen with guys who have struggled at the free throw line before, he has to be in attack mode. If he shoots 50% from the free throw line, he shoots 50% from the line. Clearly, it's something that he's battling mentally now, but he has to be attacking on a full-time basis for the Bucks.
And it all works in concert, right? I mean, we talk about the shots that Giannis took last night. A lot of those went well, and that is great, but we don't know how sustainable that is. And frankly, if the Nets have to choose, if you force them to choose, and this is not a diss on Giannis, it is just he is a very dangerous player. The weakest thing that they can at least try to force him into is taking those longer jumpers. So, yes, if it works in concert that he is then scared to hit free throws, this is going to be a problem for the rest of this series. I also just have to say, it is incredible to hear you guys say, yeah, they probably don't need James Harden the rest away for this series. This was supposed to be the series. This one, remember, before this series started, we were all like, this could be the best series of the playoffs. This could be the one where it's just a drag-it-out, incredible basketball, 7 games. Doesn't feel like that quite yet, but we will see what the Bucks can do. Game 4 is at their house on Sunday, and then that always makes a difference.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.